Hello, Watem and welcome back to some more Umineko When They Cry. Let us continue. It's been a week or a bit since I last recorded. Maybe a couple. Anyway, let's continue.
これを無限に繰り返すことによって、わらわは永遠に彼らのアリバイの証明が終えられないというわけか。なるほど、なるほど。さながらイナゴの大群を呼び出す魔王よな。さすがは金蔵の孫よ。召喚術の才能には恵まれていると見える。
つまり18人以外の存在 X は常にアリバイを証明することが不可能なんだ。どうだベアト。ヘリクス合戦だと分かれば俺も負けねえぜ。
愚かしいぞ。わらわを誰と心得る。
So, I mean, all you'd need to do to prove that it's not someone outside of the 18 is to prove that it is one of the 18. So would you please say that in red?
わらわこそは無限の魔女。
Yeah.
そのわらわに無限にて挑むとは肩払いたいわ。
Ah, but is she a countable infinite or uncountable infinite?
無限を操ることはつまり無限を殺すこともできるということ。
That sounds like she's countable infinite. So that means all we need to do is become an uncountable infinite and she can't deal with us.
わらわが19人目を切れば、そなたは20人目を呼び、20人目を切れば21人目を呼び、21人目を切れば22人目を切れば、23人目を呼び34人目を呼び、6計4358兆2235億7967万3204人目を呼びわらわを永遠に翻弄で生きるとでも。無限交代とは笑わせる。わらわに無限は通じぬわ。
ほう、ならばどうやってこの俺の無限を殺すんだよ。見せてみろよ。
She cuts it in half. That's how.
わらわには真実を赤で語る力があろうが。
来やがったな。
わらわが赤で語るとき、そこには一切の幻想がない。わらわがこの島には100人しかいないと一言赤で語れば、
Then you only need to prove up to the 100th person.
そなたにはもはや101人目を生み出すことはかなわぬのだ。
So now the question is, where will you draw the limit?
ほーらバトラー、今度はどんな真実を赤で語ってみせようか。どんな拠り所を叩き切ってそなたを絶望に突き落としてやろうか。そら、いつもの怯えた顔を見せてみるがいい。
So I think it should also be important to state that we don't know for certain yet that red text said in one game necessarily carries on to the next game. She might be able to change some of the starting conditions. And so that might change some of the red text. And so red text said before might no longer be true in the future. It is only true at that moment in time, and chronology kind of breaks down with looping.
なに？そなた、笑うか？
I wonder what kind of creepy look I had on my face as I laughed right then. That red sure is scary. Every time it jumps out, I'm driven into the depths of hopelessness. But I've already realized something. There's no need to be overly afraid of red.
また抜きやがったな。 殿下の宝刀だ。
So go ahead, say it.
それで今度はベアトリーチェ様は何をどう赤で語ってくださるってんだ？
Where will you draw the limit?
ほう、それはどういう意味か。急に余裕を見せよって。
Tell me that there's only 18 people on this island right now.
悪いが、その真っ赤な宝刀は俺も抜いてくれるのを待ってたんだ。さて、お前は今度は何を赤で宣言してくれるんだ？犯人は18人の中にいるとでも言ってくれるのか？言っとくが、そいつは自爆だぜ。
There is that too.
その時点でお前は魔女説を自ら捨てたも同然。
I think I did bring that up at one point, but yes. The only way to disprove it isn't someone else doing it, is to prove that it was one of those 18, which would then prevent it from being her.
まさに棟梁だ。
That's right. The red wasn't always a weapon that worked in Beato's favour alone. It was the other way around. If she used it the wrong way, it was dangerous enough that she could bring about her own death.
確かに俺にとっても18人の中に犯人がいると赤で言われることは受け入れたくない悲しい事実さ。たとえ誰が犯人であっても俺はきっと辛い気持ちになるだろうぜ。
That being said, I do think my current thoughts on the matter of the deaths are Beatrice is real, however she isn't the one that killed them, at least not directly.
だがそれはそれ以前にお前の敗北も意味する。人間が犯人だとお前が赤で語ることはお前の棟梁宣言にも等しい。お前が俺と差し違えても相打ちにしたいってんならそれも面白い一手だろうぜ。だがこの勝負は俺の勝ちで終わる。
Beatrice's red was her true trump card. When that person speaks in red, it's definitely the truth. No amount of proof or counter-arguments can change that. Until now, she's used that to severely wound me, and each time the tiny foundation supporting my heart gets split in half. However, if she uses it carelessly, then I can also glean a little information about the truth. In the last game, I used that to my advantage, especially during the chapel's closed room trick, and almost completely got her boxed in at one point. But she was pretty sly herself. She learned from experience, and since then, she started using discretion in the timing of her red. This feeling of tension was almost literally like a battle with real swords. This is a high-level intellectual battle. No, not an intellectual battle. This really is twisted logic. This was the world's craziest and worst battle of twisted logic. Yes, considering the wrong logic they used earlier, yes.
今度はお前の手番だぜ。そうさ。お前のヘンペルのカラスを使うにはまず18人以外に何人の人間がいるのかを赤で確定させる必要がある。
Oh, she technically could not necessarily confirm, she could give a range.
その上でそれらの人間についてさらに赤で犯人でないことを宣言したならば、なるほど、こいつは俺にとって致命傷になるだろうぜ。
あれほど怯えていた赤をもはやみじんも怯えぬとはな。たくましいやつよ。
抜いてみろよ、殿下の宝刀。バッサリ決まって今度こそ俺を屈服できるかもしれねえぜ。
面白い。こうでなくてはな。
Agitate her, challenge her, drive her into a corner to make her speak from red. Of course, her red's always wiping out are my only rays of hope. But Don't be afraid of that. On this island overcome with falsehoods and delusions, the only thing I can trust is the information she speaks in red. It's my only way across the chasm of hell. Just a single tightrope. Her merciless, blood-red blade is the only way I can survive. This isn't just walking on a tightrope. It's like literally walking on the edge of a blade. Of course I'm afraid. Because my victory condition is for denial of witches, then, to use her contrapositive logic, the culprit must be human. But I didn't want to search for a culprit amidst the 18. That's what made me stick to a weak position, since I had to claim both that it couldn't be a witch, and that it couldn't be one of the 18. Last time I was unable to understand that, so that's where she hit me, leaving me tattered and defeated. But that's okay. Let her hit me. Let her attack. No problem. Someone said it once in an old sword-fighting movie. But a good fortress has one, and only one, intentionally weak point. The enemy would gather there. They would be lured there. And that would be where the actual battle took place. As long as I understood my weak points. And as long as she wanted to attack those weak points. It was as if I was luring her into launching an attack there. Gauge the distance between us with care, retreating step by step. Make them move forward. The more she recklessly flourished that red, the more chances I would get to strike back. Don't be afraid of red. Keep her cornered, so that she'll have no choice but to refute me with red. No matter how oppressively she speaks in red. That's right, that red itself is the same as fresh blood leaking from her wounds.
さあ
Interesting imagery.
どうしたよ。まずはこの島に合計で何人いるのか赤で語ってもらおうじゃねえか。さもないとお前のカラスは俺に切り込めないぜ。
破れかぶれがこうもやりにくいとは。捨て身というやつはいつの時代も侮れんな。やはり金蔵の孫か。追い詰められれば追い詰められるほどに不敵。
Ronove cleared his throat.
膠着しましたね。せっかくの紅茶も冷めてしまいますよ。お嬢。
Ronove, who was supposed to be her ally, roguishly rushed her into making her next move. Berta probably thought she'd managed to smile back and appear confident, but she couldn't hide the sweat building up on her forehead. By now, she'd completely lost the confident feeling that had allowed her to turn her nose up at her worthless opponent. Of course, she probably wouldn't be cornered by something like this. She's just being cautious. Until now, I've been inexperienced. I didn't know how to fight. I wasn't strong enough to be her opponent. However, now that we've reached the third game, she's realized that I'm starting to become more skilled. She's grown more cautious, thinking every move over carefully. Sure, that's just fine, Beatrice. Sorry to keep you waiting. Are you happy now?
面白くなってきたぜ。
バトラ
ー。拉致が開かねえな。ならズバッと気持ちよくいつものやつで行こうじゃねえか。
ほう、いつものやつとな。
Introduce a new rule, or what?
ならば頼もうではないか。
More red,
あ
or
れを
what?
聞かぬと、やはり始まった気がせぬわ。
What? The first move was mine.
行くぜベアト。
Is he gonna save us in red? Because I feel like that isn't usual. He used it once and then it stopped working. Well, my audio cut out at this point, so here is take 2, I guess. Just continue this part.
勝要求。この島には18人しかいない。
She doesn't necessarily have to say it's only 18. She just needs to give herself enough room that that it gives her enough deniability. Yeah. I mean, she could just say if there's less than 25 people, for example, and prove that it's none of them, so he can't keep creating potential suspects, and which would limit it to being one of the 18 or her. There's a reason why she couldn't do that though. What was it? I guess you can just keep going to find out.
俺は18人の誰かを疑わざるを得ない。19人目の仕業にはもうできず、八方塞がりさ。だが、俺は18人の中に犯人が絶対にいないと信じてる。あんな残酷な殺人を18人の誰にも起こせるものか。
I mean, to be fair, most brutal murders do happen by someone you know, or someone that's close to them, because they have a lot of emotion towards that person. There's not just going to brutally murder someone that they're trying to steal from, for example, because they don't have that hatred. What's it? There's very few reasons to actually want to kill someone, where it would drive someone to kill someone, beyond being psychopathic. So for a normal person to murder, there'd be what, like wanting something that they have, being angry at them for some reason. Anyway, it's at the extremes of emotions where you get that, and so you're only going to get those extremes of emotions when you're when you know them quite well. Or have had the opportunity to. Opportunity is definitely not the right word there, but if you've had the kind of you've interacted with him in some way. Anyway.
この島には18人しかいない。
拒否する。
タンタンタン。
理由は明かさない。
Now that doesn't prove that there is more than 18. It just proves that there's a possibility that it could be more than 18. Whew, I avoided what would have been worse dread for me. If she repeated that, I'd be faced with those two worst choices of accepting the witch or suspecting one of the 18. Like last time, all over again. But Beato hadn't proclaimed my ultimate and greatest weakness in red. She refused to repeat it, even though there was no reason for her not to strike. Even though it was weakness she should have been drooling at. She hadn't sliced me up with red by using that move, which should have been as good as forking a rook in the king. That was a big sign of my advantage. Well, typically if your opponent has forked your rook and king, and then they don't take your rook after you move your king, that means that you've probably got bigger dangers on the horizon, such as, for example, you're about to lose your queen this time, or alternatively, you're about to get checkmated. So yeah. That's right. Culprit isn't one of the 18. Actually, I wonder, how many pieces are there on the board at the moment? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18. Did I count that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wait. That was 9 and then this is 10. Does that mean this is 19? Counting while recording. Yeah, that's definitely 9 white pieces. 4, another 4, 8, and then 10. So yeah, there's 19 pieces on the board, if you include the kings and the pawns. Does that mean that there's 19 people on the island, perhaps? I'm surprised I didn't think of that earlier. I don't suspect anyone. Oh, of the 18. And since the culprit isn't a witch either, it means a 19th person exists on this island. And that's you. A person who, as grandfather's mistress of 30 years, well, they said it was a possibility, not a certainty, has been secretly living in a hidden mansion in the forest for a long, long time. The quote-unquote human, Beatrice.
そうさ。お前は魔女なんかじゃない。この島に何十年も隠れ住んできた。ただの人間なんだ。
Oh?
1000年を経た無限の魔女のわらわをただの人間呼ばわりしたか。
For a while, Beatrice continued to laugh unpleasantly and gloatingly, or maybe spitefully.
いいか、続けるぜ。続けて復唱要求。
In red.
この島には19人以上がいる。
Beatrice fell silent once again. She probably remain extremely cautious. As long as confirming the number of humans on this island might give her some large disadvantage. Depending on the situation, red has already become a foothold for my counterattacks. Now that we know this, it makes red very risky for the witch. But if she couldn't repeat this, her Hempel's Raven wouldn't be effective to break my devil's proof. She would need to settle the existence and number of people outside the 18 in red. That's right. She couldn't break the existence of 19th person unless she used red. I've closed Beato in, giving her no choice but to speak in red. There really was a way to fight in this witch's game.
拒否してもいいんだぜ。お前が赤で言えないなら、この島の合計人数は18プラス X ってことになる。
Where X is a natural number. You need to specify that. Otherwise, you know, you might have 2.5 extra people. And that half a person won't be very happy that you cut them in half. Alternatively, you could have negative people. Anti-Battler and Anti-Beatrice joining the fray. Oh dear.
この X は初手で許すには相当でかい大駒だぜ。何しろ以後18人の誰にも不可能だったという根拠のトリックは全て18人以外の人間 X で説明可能になる。
Not necessarily. I mean, there is certainly somewhere it can't really be explained by having multiple people doing something. Anyway.
全員アリバイ系の密室を全て打ち破れる大駒だ。
Yeah, so the rooms that were close, not, but like physically, not because of alibis, that wouldn't be affected by this. It's just like how a chess bishop can cut a thin line through enemy forces as long as there's a slight gap. I guess I get what they mean, but okay. It could only be effectively used on squares of the same colour, but it was very good at controlling territory on the board. They are strong with long diagonals. That is true. And they can catch people off guard, but still. It looked like Beato also noticed her current plight. She couldn't just let such an important piece go, especially this close to the beginning of the game. If she pulled out her red treasured sword, it wouldn't be that difficult to save herself from this. But Beato was completely aware that I was expecting it. She was afraid that a careless red truth might end up strangling her own neck. Because, in the first place, the witch is something that ought to be denied in red. Repeat after me, Beatrice. You do not exist. Believe. Don't doubt. Witches don't exist. Something like that couldn't exist in this world. They can only exist in the valleys between truths. They have a fragile existence, curled up in these cracks, frantically trying to protect themselves from the brutal winds of truth. They can only barely exist like a mirage by surviving on falsehoods and illusions. In other words, the red, which only witches can use, is the reality that might easily deny their very being. The more they brandish their red words, the more they begin to lose, bit by bit, that crack in truth, inside which they can endure. That's why they don't want to use red words and carelessly lose that crack in truth, which is based on fuzzy information, or illusions in other words. That's because they understand that they're gradually being cornered. Of course, that bastard will never admit it, because, if she did, it'd be the same as admitting that she's something that can't exist in this world, like an imaginary number. Well, I'll refute you there. Imaginary numbers do exist in our world. They can be very useful in stuff like electronics. Oh, yeah. In phases, especially. Yeah. I mean, sure, the square root of -1 isn't something that exists per se, but to say that imaginary numbers don't exist, well, that would be in this world, that would be throwing out like half of mathematics. Don't be afraid. Stay strong. I know that she's the one who's really been pierced to the bone. After all, her red treasured sword can't be used without a lot of preparation.
どうしたよ。繰り返すぜ。副将要件。この島には19人以上がいる。
She seems quite happy.
拒否する。
At the end of Virta's worrying, she took a single deep breath and quietly announced her refusal. I thought she'd use it, but Beato refused to speak in red, even though it would cost her victory in the opening part of the game.
拒否したな。ということは今後、俺は18人以外の架空人物 X を何人でも使い放題ってことになるぜ。
However, she can choose to change that whenever she wants.
好きにするがよい。わらわはそなたの副将を拒否した。今はそれで十分であろう。拒否の理由は、いや、今はまだ明かさない。
Oh?
いずれすぐにわかる。
Huh?
もったいぶりやがってよ。
あえて使わぬ赤もまた赤らしい使い方。
Yep, you leave open possibilities.
そなたは赤き宝刀と呼んだ。愉快な例え。わらわも使おう。宝刀は抜かぬうちが花。むしろ抜かぬことによって醸せる畏怖というものも
そうだな。俺はお前がいつ赤でひっくり返してくるか常に念頭に置いて戦わなければならない。こいつはえれえプレッシャーな。それに副将を拒否される方が辛い場合もある。何しろ俺の読みが正しいから拒否できないのか、ミスリードにはまって泳がされてるのか区別がつかないからな。そういう意味ではなるほど抜かずの宝刀ってわけだ。
Yeah. He'll only ask to repeat things that are beneficial for him to have been repeated. So what's the point in ever repeating anything he says? Better to choose your own truths to deny him with.
同じ突き落とすなら少しでも高いところに行かせてからに限る。まだ始まったばかり。まだまだ。この勝負は淡き勝利に今は弱い。今はね。
And I'll be ending it there for today. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know any feedback you have in the comments. And until next time, see ya.